Hey, what's going on? Welcome to episode 4. This is Food Over People. My name's Maddie. And yeah, we're going to be going into some of the issues that I guess happened with the food industry. Well, not I guess. I don't know why I'd say that. But this coronavirus really screwed up a lot of stuff. And yeah, this is bad. It sucks, but hopefully we'll be able to fix something like this because it does. Been seeing a bunch of articles. Oh, having too much pepper on your eggs kind of screws you up, and it's great talking about the coronavirus and I start coughing. Awesome. But anyway, yeah, the food industry definitely took a toll and got hurt by this, from what happened, which sucks because we started basically coming to like a revolution with farm to table and going to farmer markets and getting better quality food, and now this just hurt a lot of stuff. It definitely did. And as thankfully, at least I'm at New Jersey, people still go out and people still are going to those markets and whatnot and putting their trust back into them and showing that. But it definitely did take a toll on this society. Like it definitely made things a lot harder. It definitely added regulations and laws and issues. I'm of the thought, I guess, I'd say, as bad as this was, I'm kind of happy in a sense of that now we're going to take way better precautions and be cleaner, healthier, safer, and whatnot. And I kind of like that because I'm very hygienic, very, sanitary. And, I clean all my foods, everything I eat, and I make sure it's done properly. I wash everything. And I think now we're going to put that to a higher standard. And I think that's good. But, this is another thing. I was talking to someone about, big companies, big corporations that, give crappy food to us. When you process food, it's like impossible to get sick from, virus wise, like bacteria wise for the most part, because it's so, highly processed. And so they're like making out on this. Big companies are basically saying, trust us, we make sure it's healthy, or not healthy, but, make sure it's, you're not going to get sick from our stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going on with it. I'm actually going to be talking to Brad Sculo again. He was I think last time last time we talked, we had a really good talk about food, everything, industry, and I wanted to kind of talk to him about that stuff today. He's probably way more knowledgeable than I am about what's going on, what's going to change, the future of food, what's going to happen. And I don't know, I thought that'd be a cool thing to talk to. And yeah, I definitely want to get his opinion on some things because he's more well read than I am, because I'm still learning. Like I said, never be scared to admit that. Never be scared to admit, like, when someone asks you something, you're like, I don't know, I have no idea, I'm not well read enough. I respect that more than someone trying to bullshit you. It's just, that's what I'm about. I don't claim to have all the answers or know everything. But I will try to learn. So, fuck it. I'll do what I have to. But I'm going to give him a call. We're going to Skype him up real quick. And, we'll get coronavirus got a little scary. And definitely we lost trust into some things with the food industry and kind of worried us. And many people lost jobs, and farms, and especially small business restaurants, as everyone knows around the country, are definitely taking a massive hit. And that's like really depressing, because all your favorite restaurants may not be coming back. And I've been to very expensive restaurants in New York City, and all these places that make millions to hundreds of thousands to millions and millions of dollars, and they'll be good, just like crappy franchises. They'll be good, but your family owned businesses, small business restaurants, definitely going to take a toll. So, yeah, this sucks. But we're going to call Brad. And let's see what he's got to say for us today. I know he's got some opinions, so let's see. Hopefully we can make this work. I missed that sound. I have no idea why.
You there?
Hey, Brad, can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you.
Ah, there we go. Skype sucks. Jesus, man. So how's it going, man?
Good. How are you out there?
I'm good. It sucks in a way because I told you I want to talk about the coronavirus stuff, and it definitely, I go around my town and other towns, and the most depressing moment is when I go to, drive by and see the restaurants that I love, and a bunch are just going under.
Yeah.
It sucks.
And I don't know who will be left. And it's horrifying.
Yeah, it's really depressing seeing that, because no one knows who's going to survive this. No one knows what's going to happen, and yeah, it's a scary thing right now.
Well, the biggest problem is this whole red, yellow, green got everyone excited to get to the green phase. But the green phase was no different than the yellow phase. It just had a different person capacity, and certain things weren't allowed. But the problem is that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
A salon can make it on 2 people at a time. A lot of times that's who's in a salon. 2 people, 3 people at a time.
Yeah.
However, at a restaurant, to say you can only run a certain capacity, oh, and by the way, all that cash you threw into your bar and your community dining, that's all gone. So it's almost to a point where it's not worth opening. But then you've been closed so long, you have to open. But if you open, it's going to cost you money. You're pretty much stuck closed. And I mean, that's just, it's crazy that there has to be a green phase 2 or a blue phase or something here momentarily. I mean, it's got to happen. This week for anyone to be safe, if it even could help some of them.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend who's my CPA, and he was telling me he was talking to his boss, and they did a model of the financial status of what's going to happen with restaurants and small business in general. And he's like, bro, 20 to 30% of all small businesses are just going to fall under. And he says all these restaurant owners are coming to him to talk about loans and all that. And he's basically saying, don't take loans, fire all your employees and try to ride it out. It's scary and sad what he's telling me. He's like, people are taking these loans and they're just going to screw themselves. And he's trying to tell everyone, which still sucks, but, fire everyone, hold down, do what you can, do minimal stuff. And that, it's just, wow, I've never been a part of something like this. It's so depressing.
It is. And never in the history of our time, it happened back in the Depression, things like this.
Yeah.
But it's never been like this. And no, I'm sure you've heard, no business plan for a restaurant exists with a loan in it. It's hard.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you have to get investors, not a loan.
Yeah.
And so when you see, just in the past few years, these places opened. So they owe some folks money, and rightfully so. They're giant. You got places that have done some extreme work on some old buildings. And that's, as far as gentrification goes, restaurants led that.
Oh, yeah.
That was all restaurants. That was not it wasn't the thrift shop clothing boutiques. It was restaurants that led that charge. And now, I mean, my God, some of them had just opened months before all of this. Mm-hmm. They might have held out a little bit, seeing all these restaurants open, and they finally say to themselves, you know what, I'm going to make the jump. I'm going to dump my savings into a restaurant because people seem to really like that right now.
Yeah.
And sure enough, and as I understand it, you've got places that were trying to do takeout, and that started to get stale because they couldn't do their full menu.
Yeah.
And now, you go to a bar and they tell you that you can't stand at the bar. I mean, who wants to go out and be told all these rules? You wouldn't do that under normal circumstances.
I was
if
just
a restaurant tried to tell you any of that, you'd never go back.
I was just going to say that's what really hurt, because now you have to have all these rules just to get like when I would go to get a gyro, I have to like stand outside 6 feet apart of people. I have to have gloves and a mask on. I have to wait. I have to do all this stuff. And I'm like, I just want a gyro. Like, come on. And it makes
the simple escape of those there's no more escape. You want to escape the process.
Yeah, it's really, now it's a stressful process. Like, maybe it seems like I'm being melodramatic, but
no.
It's insane that I have to, like I said, there's 8 things I literally have to do to be able to get a gyro if I go right now to the place I go to. It's like I don't even want to go. Like,
no, and you feel bad for saying that.
Yeah, it sucks.
Ain't the business owner's fault. And that's what sucks too. They are suffering for someone else's piss poor decision making.
Yeah, it's not like they came up with these rules or came up with this idea. Like they're not trying. No. They're legally trying to not get sued. They're trying to abide by the rules. They're trying to make sure people know they're safe and we're safe. It's just, it sucks that they have to. I don't think any businesses actually went through something like this before, at least in America that that I know of.
Nope.
Yeah,
and that's what's even worse. They're getting threats from the local government.
Yeah.
If we catch you doing this, we'll yank your liquor license and we'll never give it back to you again.
Yeah, and that's a bitch to get. Most people don't understand liquor licenses. There's limited amounts, and it's tons of money. And I never learned about that until I talked to my friend who owns a liquor store, and he taught me a lot of stuff where I'm like, how is that, like, that's what you have to go through? It's insane.
Not just that, but as you said, there's a limited amount.
Oh yeah.
So in Pennsylvania, people will stack them. There's folks out there that don't own a bar or restaurant that own 3 or 4 liquor licenses.
Yeah.
They can be traded as a commodity.
That's crazy.
Like, I'm telling you, it shouldn't be that way. You should have to put the license into effect if you own them.
Yeah, it's like they're hoarding it. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah, every restaurant I go to, I mean, that's what the future. I don't know what the future of restaurants is. That's why I really wanted to talk to you, since you're probably more well read and knowledgeable on that. Because I'm thinking, I read an article on the Times, which I actually have already. It was called "Coronavirus is Hurting the Restaurant Industry. Here's how it could change the future of food." And it was talking about basically like what they're going to figure, like what are they going to do and how they're going to try to, what are restaurants going to be in the future? Because this literally changed every single way that we eat, live, and do things now. Like, it's not going back at least from what I'm reading and what I think. It literally changed the game on food, the restaurants, and what's going to happen. And yeah, it got scary. It's definitely different, and yeah, things are going to change. And for the better, I don't know, because maybe it's going to be more of a sanitary, clean issue, which I guess I'm okay with, because I obviously want your food to be clean and your people to be clean, serving it to you. But I don't know what's the future of food, like in restaurants. I don't know what's going to put the trust back in the people, and what's going to, what rules are we going to have to do that are going to be so like second nature now,
Well, I think the future is simply a more empty one. Yeah. I don't believe that people will put up with any major changes like this long term.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't know why you would.
Yeah.
And what's worse is other states aren't being like this. Some states didn't put these in place.
Oh,
and
really?
So if you were to travel and let's say go to Texas or something, or better yet, Utah, who never closed anything. They just said, no, we're not doing this. Some people migrated there. Some folks I know, they just said, all right, I'm going to go to Utah. This is dumb. So if you're able to go to another state and eat like you used to be able to eat, you probably will. and you'll skip a state like Pennsylvania that has, from what I understand, the harshest of them. I don't know exactly what New York is doing. I know that they got hit really hard.
Oh yeah,
as far as rules and regulations.
Yeah, New York got hit the hardest.
Yeah. So I mean, and it could be worse than PA. But either way, I don't foresee anyone putting up with this. I'm sure you've noticed the mask thing has run its course.
Oh, yeah.
People who were wearing masks are not wearing them anymore.
Yep.
And so there's that. So they're not going to go in their day-to-day life and not wear a mask and then be told to go to a restaurant and spend a bunch of money they're going to.
Yep.
They'll just skip it, you know?
Yeah. Well,
I think the whole thing about, no buffets, no this, no that, look, I've said my piece on the fact that this whole thing was overhyped.
Oh, I agree with that.
That's the nicest way to put it, overhyped.
Yeah.
But it can't. People, they got to throw their hat back in the ring, because you can't tell people who have worked so hard at putting a place together. You're talking about establishments that have been around for 100 years, especially in the Philadelphia, New York, and Jersey area, places that have been around for 100 years.
Oh, yeah. Some of the oldest restaurants in the country are in our area.
Yeah. And then they're going to tell you, no, you can't do any of that. No. The future of food is that there isn't one. Okay? Because, this whole thing, they tried to hype up cooking at home. And as you may have heard, for a while, people took to it as like a, I don't know, I compare it to dying Easter eggs. Oh, everyone's cooking at home. Let's cook at home. And that burned out pretty quick, either because they couldn't, wouldn't, or shouldn't,
Yes.
And so you have to have restaurants. You have to. But you can't, you're putting people in a rock and a hard place. They're going to ultimately blame the business.
Yeah.
Because I think people would say, well, why are you doing this? And look, they wouldn't do it if they weren't told to do it. There's no doubt about it.
Basically.
And I think that the future's bleak at best. The whole thing about changing buffets like Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay? They have so much real estate wrapped up in buffet space. You can't, especially if they try to say, oh, well, you get in line here, 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 and here. They're not going to do it. Amusement parks tried that, and it didn't work with their rides.
Oh, really?
One of the solutions to getting the line to be a little less was to set the lines up in different places. Didn't work. People didn't like it because they felt duped. They felt, oh, that line's moving faster. I'm in the wrong line. I'm now going to switch lines.
Mm-hmm.
And it never doesn't work. And and speaking of that, you look at like, we were in such a great time that you had movie theaters working on menus. Places like, and so you have to think like that. People would go in, have a drink, and eat something while watching a movie. That was awesome. Well, now they can barely watch the movie, let alone eat.
True.
And I mean, that's it. The future's a close sign. And I hate saying that, because there was so many places I wanted to go that had just popped up.
Yeah.
And Instagram, of course, helps with that.
Oh,
You get to see these places. And now I don't know if any of them will be left. I know the entire restaurant groups, because that was the big thing. The term restaurateur popped up about mid-2000s. And it started into the restaurant group thing where, anybody of any note had 3 or 4 places almost instantly. But there are entire restaurant groups falling. I mean, as I understand it, there was a group of 17 over by Myrtle Beach that are closing all their locations.
Yeah.
And I mean, 17 empty buildings, that's noticeable, no matter where you are.
Oh, yeah, 100%. God, that's scary. Jesus, man.
And it's got to stop. They've got to leave these people. Let them do it themselves. If they truly feel that they have to change their dining room or something like that, let them do it. But if they don't, and if nothing's going on, hey, and you have to figure too that the other problem, the other thing that's going to happen in the future is 0 new places. We're not going to see a new restaurant for, I don't know, ever. Because it would scare. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Not a chance. after seeing this and seeing what's bound to happen, especially as you see folks in the restaurant game and all the other places that got hit, their unemployment's going to be out by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And there will not be anywhere to return to, you know, and what do we all do? So what's the point of opening a restaurant? Especially when you think, if they got away with it this time,
Yeah.
shutting everyone down and putting all this in place, why try? I mean, you know, you get your doors open and now there's a new assumed virus and they want you to close. There's no way I would do it. You know?
Yeah, that is scary. I mean, with the buffet thing you were talking about, couldn't you essentially? Because I went to a grocery store that usually has a buffet, you know, like the olive bars and all that. But they had covers over them. Can't they essentially do that for buffet? I'm not big into buffets, honestly, because I understand they oversalt everything, so you get less hungry, so you really don't eat as much as you think. So like buffets for me, which I don't really care about, but I go to one maybe once or twice a year, if that. But couldn't you essentially just put tops over that? Isn't that kind of an easy answer, or am I just overthinking that? Or
no, you could. You absolutely could do that, and you absolutely could just simply ask people, hey, guys, don't get too close to each other. Yeah. But, you know, man, I think people did that on their own time. I really do. So much of what's going on now, people did themselves.
Yeah,
I mean, you didn't have to tell them.
We're Americans. We don't like being told what to do. No. Our country was basically founded on not wanting to like pay taxes and not wanting to do all that bullshit. So like automatically, well, that's what I'm saying. In other countries, they're so like their government's so like forceful on them for not thinking and doing certain things. We're just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Which I kind of do like I said, I think this thing's overhyped. There is a threat. Obviously, actually, one of my best friend's father passed from it, but you know, he had health issues. But you know, just like any other virus, you know, it is what it is. But for some reason, I love when I see like an old grandpa or grandma's like not wearing a mask. Like, fuck you. I'm doing my thing. I'm going to do what I want. And then going to restaurants and seeing people not have to have a glove. Once they get their mask off, when they get their food and leave the place, they toss their mask in the garbage can and start eating. Yep. I love seeing that, but that's so American. It actually makes me smile every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does. And I hope that we keep fighting. I hate that right now, especially in the city centers, there are bigger threats.
Oh yeah.
You know, my God, what about you want to talk about a 1-2 punch for a place? You know, they've been closed all this time, then somebody decides to bust their windows in.
Oh yeah.
It's like that. After that, I'm not even going to go back. You know, and I just can't believe it, because I'm telling you, restaurants were more important than anyone ever understood as far as what's reshaped all these cities in the past 10 years.
Restaurants made me move when I went to North Carolina. Like, restaurants mean a lot to most people. You know, maybe it's my food obsession, or I understand what food really is culturally and, you know, what it does for people. But yeah, food, I guess people don't realize or even think about it, but your local restaurants and your grocery stores and like food makes that town, city, and what that, like, you need it. You need it. It makes, you know, I don't get why people don't understand the food industry is going to take a hit and hurt, and I think it's up to us to make sure it stays afloat, because, you know, there's no other alternative. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know us as the citizens who buy the food and eat the food, we have a duty to like help this out in some way, you know?
Absolutely. You know, and you have these situations where they want you to go back to work. They open back up.
Yeah. Yeah, Jersey just opened. We just opened up. We're allowed to do things now. We can have like up to 100 people, and yeah, we're definitely opening up and, you know, moving slowly. So it's getting better. But.
Right. And it comes to a point where they open, but you see, a server relied on tips. Tips rely on people.
Yep.
If you can't have enough people, you can't make enough tips, and there's no point in going back to work, especially while unemployment's paying you what it's paying you.
Yeah.
And in those cases, you have to stop and say, well, I guess they're right. You know, I mean, I can't. What can you tell them? Especially if they're a college student.
Oh yeah.
Who has a lot of bills to pay? Who's got to do this? I mean, And then you start to think, let's take like Walnut Street.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have a lot of places on Walnut Street, and here
Yeah.
around Pittsburgh, it's Carson Street, and there's the Strip District, and that was the places with the nightclubs, bars, and restaurants that were pretty much top of the line.
Yeah, okay.
Well, now you start knocking out the nightclubs because God knows what they're going to do.
Oh, that's so funny you say that, not to cut you off, but yeah, someone was saying,
Yeah.
they're like, what about nightclubs and bars and all? What what are they going to do? Because you're up close near everybody.
Yep. And you can't just say, let me say this. The term "the new normal" has to stop.
Yeah, I don't like
It
that
has
term.
to
That's
stop.
that's stupid.
It is the most threatening, under breath, snide comment that is passed on from person to person.
Yeah, I know.
You see, it's basically like saying you go to your landlord and go, "Hey, I got a leak under the sink," and they go, "Yeah, that's the new normal." No, it isn't. You know, it's not. And just to say, "Oh, hey, I own a couple of nice bars. I dumped my life savings into it. When can I get that going?" Well, no, that's the new normal. No, it isn't. You know, it's not. And this was at the time. It almost looked like the 80s out there, back when people would go out on a Monday
Yeah.
and light the joint up. I mean, honestly, and again, you can't stop that. People are restless. I think it's starting to show. There is a depression in the air. You know, the green phase should have been a celebration, but all it did was reinforce the fact that we were being tricked into looking forward to something that just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I had a wedding scheduled for June 20th.
Oh, jeez.
And when they released, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, and they released that red, yellow, green stuff.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was quite vague. And we thought, okay, if we can get to yellow by this time, I bet you will be green by June.
Yep.
As some weeks went by and it became more clear what that was, I said, we have got to push the date.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way it's going to work the way we think it's going to work.
Yeah.
And that's just me. Now, and you got to remember, in booking the wedding, we had to go through 7 different dates because all the dates were booked up with all these people.
Yeah.
So once again, here are these mom and pop industries being just steamrolled over.
Oh, yeah.
Because of this.
It sucks.
All those dates are open now. I can guarantee it. How will venues make it? That these are expensive places. These gorgeous giant church and barn venues that people put their heart and soul into. Catering companies.
Oh,
God. Heck, all you heard before all this was, well, yeah, employees aren't growing on trees. I can't get someone to do that. I'd pay someone to do that, but I can't find someone to do that.
Yeah.
Now,
I was going to say it's the opposite now.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so that's what I believe the future is. I believe it's a close sign if this doesn't stop.
Well,
and even if it does stop, let's say in a month, I still believe there'll be plenty of close signs.
Well, like I'm saying, I think we dictate, which is, obvious answer, but we dictate our future. But I mean that as in we have to put so much faith and confidence and, into each other, into the restaurant industry and the food, and basically like not pretending this didn't happen, but I'm saying like not taking it to the extent of what the government, I guess, wanted us to do, which is just shut down everything and everyone go on like government pay. Like, I don't think that's the answer. I think bad things will happen, but if you just hide and you're scared and you don't put your faith and your money into the economy and into restaurants and to food and all those businesses, then what's the point of doing anything?
Nothing left when you decide to come out of your hole.
That's what I'm saying. There's gonna be nothing left.
If you're going to hide, exactly, that's exactly it. If you're going to hide and worry, when you do get the guts to come out of your hole and open the door to the bunker, there won't be anything to see.
Yeah, except the fucking McDonald's.
Yep.
Like, that's it. That's who's going to survive this.
They were on the ropes. McDonald's was on the ropes for the first time in that company's history.
And I loved it.
They were in a scramble to try to figure out what they were going to do to make it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, They're right back where they were in the early 90s. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, right to that stance where you couldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole, no matter what they did.
Yep.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And I can't believe it. And you're absolutely right. And more importantly, and I believe it's twofold, you know, I remember there was so much courage and you know, I don't know, I guess I don't want to say it's comparable, but in some ways it is, with when September 11th happened.
Yeah.
Okay? Everyone's message was, don't lay down.
Yeah.
Get back out. Go back. Remember that? Go back to work.
Yeah.
Remember Giuliani and everyone saying, go back to work. Go back to school.
Yeah.
Basically the direct opposite of what they told us to do here. Go back to work. Go back to school.
Yeah.
Go see your friends. Go see
Don't
your family.
Don't change anything. We'll figure this out for you, and we'll handle it, and we'll make sure you guys are safe. Like,
and they even it was that tune in the city, because I was in and out of there as the memorial was being constructed.
Oh wow.
And what you realized was, folks essentially just ignored the big hole in the city.
Yeah.
They walked around it with a smile because they had somewhere to go.
Yeah.
You see, but they don't have that now. That's the problem.
Yeah, no.
Something terrible has happened to us. We were attacked. However, whatever side, either by a virus or people talking about a virus, we were attacked.
Yeah.
And now we're not being told, go back to work, go back to school, and help us get through this and keep a smile on your face. We're being told, no, hide your smile, literally, so no one can see it. Don't go back to work or school. Just hang out, and there you go. There's not even an end. Like you said, they told us they'd figure it out, and they did. And you remember, a lot changed.
Yeah.
We don't even think about it. Works and the way certain things were done. That at that time, kind of, we were worried. What. But now you think back, and this is not how I feel about what they're doing with the virus plan.
Yeah.
Now you look back and go, they probably should have been doing that in the first place.
That's
Like
what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, why wasn't that already done?
Right. But this time, no one's saying that. Everyone's saying, like, well, if you do that, we'll close. That's it. That's literally what, So it has to stop. Someone has to bring a message of hope. But sadly, out there right now, there is no message of hope. Nothing. And I'll tell you, you know how it is. The major city centers see a lot of things that the side cities don't. Pittsburgh is not really a major city center. It's a smaller town, especially in Pennsylvania. But the whole thing with rioting and stuff, all I think to myself, those people, they've got their own beliefs, their own message, or they just have too much time on their hands. One way or the other, I think to myself, if you folks had taken to the streets during this with a different thing written on your sign, we would not be worried about red, yellow, and green. They stopped all this. Yeah. And that's what frustrates me. It goes to show we had the manpower, and they didn't want to come out for that.
Yeah, we had the ability to do something. It's just, I don't know, everyone just shut down and just avoided everything and just gave up. And now, I don't know. I don't know. It really worries me because, some of my favorite restaurants, and the show I told you about I was going to film was literally about these small businesses that no one knew about except people that were that lived there, the ones that were hidden, the ones that they don't make tons of money, but they don't care because it's everyone's like family there, and they all go there and talk and hang out, and that's I don't know, I don't see that anymore, and that sucks.
This is what you let folks know, because folks always ask me, how do you find, because we'll go on a trip wherever we may go, and they'll say, how did you find this place? Yeah. Because, this, best, that. Not understanding that Google's a business too. Google don't give anything to anybody. Yeah. Okay. So you may not technically find best ... on Google.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, you there, Brad? Oh boy. Something happened. Oh, you there? Can you hear me, Brad? Oh boy. Oh no.
You see what I mean? So that's what it is.
Wait, Brad. Hold on.
What I'm getting at is.
Oh wait, I didn't. You cut out for like 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. So if you want to go back and say I didn't hear you. Yeah.
Well, what I say you got to look at the menus of these places. Okay. And for me, there was an indicator at a place in Philly where they had salmon cannolis as an appetizer, and I thought to myself that could be many things.
Yes.
A salmon cannoli, but the fact that they're doing that and brazen enough to put on their menu, I'm going to eat there. So that's why I picked that place.
I'm all about that. I'm all about, like, I don't care if it looks crazy. I'm like, if someone had the balls to be like, hey, let's put this up there. Like, I know this is good. Yep. I love those places, and even if I hate something, like I hate, like we talked about before, I hate tofu, mayo, certain things, eggplant. But if someone puts something up, or it's like so crazy or so different, I'm all in. You got me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's exactly what's going. Okay, but not to get too astray. Okay, yeah. But where we're going with that is those places they really didn't have the budget to pay Google and Instagram to feature them.
Oh yeah.
So it was word of mouth and people actually going to those places that carried them through.
Yeah, and take pictures and take video and show. Yeah, that's what did it. That's why social media. Not to cut you again, but like that's what did it. Yeah, social media and going to places. Like when I did all my reviews and took pictures. Yeah, I get like 20 emails or messages. Oh, where'd you get this? Where'd you do that? And I told them where, and they all went. But now with that being so, you're only getting takeout and you can't go there and you can't socialize. Like all the places that I found that were amazing restaurants was going to like people to bars and local places and talking. And I can't do that anymore. So I don't know where any local good stuff is.
No. And not just that, but you saw the change in menus was, why don't we have you hang out, enjoy a couple of drinks, and eat many small plates.
Oh, yeah.
Like the style deal.
I love that.
Hang out with your friends. That's not applicable to takeout.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Oh, boy. Thanks, Skype. You there? Oh, boy. Skype. Actually, Wi-Fi.
On a technical note.
No.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm there. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's your end or my end, but I guess the connection's a little meh.
No problem.
That's okay.
So get takeout, okay? Yeah. Help these places, but between you and I and the listeners, food has a shelf life. And that's what upsets me about the takeout situation is that you're not going to get the full experience. And dare I say, you could potentially have a bad experience because you took out a certain dish that just shouldn't have really left the restaurant. All
right, perfect example. So my friend, and I explained this to him, he's like, I need good barbecue. And I don't know if you ever been around the area I'm at, but in Manville, but there's a place called Grub Hut that has this old school amazing barbecue and is like, it's where I send everyone at this place. And he's like, oh, I'm going to get barbecue. But I'm like, well, are you going to eat it there or are you going to wait when you get home? Like, and he said, wait till I get home. I'm like, no, what? You can't get your meat like freshly made, like nice brisket. It's going to dry out. It's going to ruin the texture. Like if you get a medium rare steak, it's going to wait too long. And then it's still cooking. Most people don't get when your food's done, it's not done. It's still cooking.
Right.
It's still, it's going to, all the juices, you can't do that with barbecue. You have to get your barbecue freshly cut, freshly made, right then and there and eat it and enjoy it. If you're getting that to go, even sandwiches or fried food or whatever it is, it's sitting in that box collecting moisture and getting like soaked and soggy and it's overcooking and it's ruining the whole food experience. It's
Yes.
so bad, and I'm trying to teach more people, you know, what to get and what not to get, or eat it in your car, or once you get it to take like to go. Don't wait, like, but you know, not many people understand that or taught that or told that. And it's ruining a lot of places because, you know, I send people certain places like, oh, that was soggy. Oh, it was overcooked and all this. And I explained why. And they're like,
Yes.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, it's exactly. You
Yeah.
know, and hey, some food's set up for it.
Oh, yeah.
Most Asian, Indian, the stuff that's high heat, heavy sauce.
Oh, yeah.
You could drive home to another state, be A-okay. That is true, but
Oh, yeah.
then again, they're on the other side. No, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. These places are just outright being robbed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, being robbed of new customers and new guests and new loyals. You know, you had terms. Think about it. Terms like foodie and I don't know what else people call that. I've never really used that term, but you know, for me, it was I liked being called an intentional diner in that I intentionally ended up in the seat that I did with the dishes that I did.
Oh, yeah.
I
Well,
don't stray anyone from exploring and just deciding to turn the corner and eat at whatever they saw. I've done that a couple times.
Yeah.
It's worked very well for me more than it hasn't.
yeah.
You know, so you go in there and you have to think about those things. And I mean, people were using restaurants as a hobby, and good for them.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a hobby to have. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
but now, what in the world would you take up that hobby for? Why
Oh, yeah.
would you do it?
Yeah.
Just to put yourself through the hassle.
Yeah. Well, it's
You know?
yeah, it's funny you mentioned about the experience because I didn't go to restaurants for just the food. Like I went, like I went for the experience. And when you get a dish, like my favorite restaurant in North Carolina was I don't know if I told you, but the Jerusalem Garden Cafe, Middle Eastern food, and they plated it so well and so like it was like a work of art. Now, if you go there or any place that I love, it's just thrown in a box and you're just like, oh, here's the food, cool. But like you're paying for their experience. It's not just the food you pay for. You get to talk to people. You get to sit down and enjoy the music or the air or, you know, whatever's there, the sights. And that's taken away, and that's depressing, man. I love going to restaurants and, you know, enjoying how it's plated, how it looks, you know, everything about it. That's why I liked restaurants, you know.
I also think that the love is missing.
Yeah.
I don't believe people's hearts. I believe their hearts are broken, and therefore they cannot be inserted into the dish.
Yeah, because you're just throwing it in a stupid styrofoam box.
Yep. Every day that they plated up, they loved it. Every day they said goodbye to that dish as it exited the kitchen, went to the diner, like they were saying goodbye to their children when they went to school.
Yeah.
People have to understand that a good restaurant, they really do feel that way in there. It's not an embellishment. They truly love every dish that finds its way out the door.
No, I mean, I never worked in a kitchen. But when I cook food for my friends, like yesterday I made a bunch of food for my friends. I plated it nice. I did this whole thing, made it good because they're eating it right then and there. And I equate it to like, yeah, I put my heart and soul to make sure they know that I gave a damn about making that food. But now if I make food to go, it's just like, let me cook this up, toss it in, whatever. Like, it's like no one's gonna care anyway. It's
right.
Yeah, it's totally different. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. Wow.
I mean, that's what it is. I think that's what's missing the most is their heart. And you have to give them a chance to heal up. I mean, why? I swear, that's exactly what it is. If you ever lost somebody, you chug along in life because you have to.
Yeah.
Right? But some days you'd rather not. And if you apply that to food or a product that you make, I'm sorry, it's just not there. It will. I promise it'll taste different. I promise it will.
So, what do you think? I guess what do you think the answer is? Like to fix it? Like what?
We have to go back. We need phase blue. Phase green was fine. Whatever. We need phase blue.
What's phase blue exactly?
Phase blue is it's now up to you and legal. Let's put it, I'll use the word legal. That's the wrong term. It's now up to you and legal for you to rearrange your dining room any way you see fit to make people safe. It's up to you, the business owner.
Yeah.
You see, you could, if you feel that you can't let a few people in at that time, despite your occupancy permit, then it's okay, and no one will give you a hard time about refusing service or any other nonsense, right?
Okay.
If you feel that you have to segregate, you have to say, no, only 3 people here, and no, only 2 people there, and I'm going to do this, and the whole open container thing they passed needs to stick around.
Yeah.
Because it's helping places get back on their feet, so that has to be a part of Phase Blue.
Okay.
So you allow all those things, and you put it back into the hands of the business owner, the folks that paid for the damn thing.
Yeah.
And you say, that's it. And good luck to you, and that's it. Phase Blue means you can be exactly what you were, or you can decide to make specific changes that you might have got some flack for before.
Okay.
So that's what it is. And I think that will go to show that everything can go back to the way it was, before all this nonsense. And man, we need it, because there's so much unrest. There's so much frustration and anger out there that if we don't get back with each other and begin to see each other smile, it's gone.
Because
no one sees anybody smile.
Yeah, if you're just sitting back, like, again, like you said way earlier, like, you're gonna hibernate basically, but what are you gonna come back to?
Right.
Like, what do you come?
If you open the bunker, okay, you heard a bomb drop, you hid in the bunker. All right, logical choice.
Yeah.
But when you open it, will you like what you see, or should you just go back down there and starve?
Yeah, and just do nothing. Yeah, eat worms. Go eat. Go. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
So that's what I want. I want people to be able to come out of the bunker and get back to what they left. That's Phase Blue.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to, support all the restaurants that I, used to go to before all this, and I try. Like I said, I talk to them all the time about, are you gonna be able to, do this? Are you still gonna be around? And I never had one, which this is what depressed me. Like I said, I go to all my secret, nice, good restaurants that I tell no one about. That is the most delicious food, and I'm like, are you gonna survive? Is everything okay? They're like, I don't know. Like, they have no answer.
And that is the equivalent of when you tell someone you have, this is a better one. When you tell someone you got divorced.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, neither of us have said that, but you know how it goes. You say, someone says to you, I got divorced, and then you go, oh man, how are things?
Yeah.
It simply adds a little salt in the wound. Even though they care. You're asking because they care.
Yeah.
You're asking because you want the answer you want.
Yeah.
And let me make clear, they want to give you that answer, but they can't lie to you.
Oh, yeah.
And just as much as they can't lie to themselves. And here we are using terms like lie and negative and comparing it to divorce. Yeah. We should be using terms like grow, second location, open air, seasonal.
Yep.
If we would be talking on this podcast 3 months ago, that's exactly what we'd be saying.
Oh, yeah.
You and I would have had a discussion about the future of food in a positive light, and we would have said a lot of different things.
Yeah, we'd probably be at a restaurant doing this.
Most likely. Yeah.
Because that was honestly my plan. Like, I wanted to go to places and do this. And now it's like, I can't go to my studio that I was supposed to rent. Oh, can't go to these restaurants that I wanted to do this at. Which I had a really nice setup. I never told you about this really nice fancy restaurant. And they had this private, they had a private wine room. And that's where I was supposed to do the podcast, like at this really nice place. And it all fell down. It all got ruined.
Well, right there. Yeah. I mean, you look what it's doing. And for what? Honestly, like you said, and I'm glad that you actually have, not glad, but it's good that you have the ability to tell me that you knew someone who did suffer from this.
Yeah.
And so, but you even can say, you know that that's not how life has to be. Heck, there were people that knew people about, victims of September 11th But
Yeah.
I don't remember them ever saying, you know what, just stay in your house from now on. Someone got hurt.
Well, I mean, I've literally had friends die of the flu. I've had friends pass of many things. But
Sure.
if I got scared of that and I hid away, I mean, what's the point? What's the point of me living? What's the point of me doing anything? Like,
Well, that's exactly it. When you're forced to ask yourself, what's the point of this?
yeah,
And that's nowhere to be. You ask any psychologist, they're going to tell you, nah, that's not really a good question for humans to ponder for too long.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I mean, we used to call that depression. Now we call it the green phase.
Yeah. Like, I just really, really hope, and I think about it every day. And again, not everyone does. They're just, doing their own thing, whether it's a job, whether it's the protest, whatever it is. Everyone's just, angry and, has things on their minds. But in my mind, I'm like, what are we going to do with these restaurants? What's going to happen to food? What are we going to do with, are they just going to get rid of all employees and just use computers? Like, that's all that's going on in my head. It's like,
well, that's exactly, dude. And I believe this is something I would love to touch on with you in the future.
Yeah.
Is the digital problems, the robots.
Yeah.
Okay. And the apps and this and that. Those are things that did make a lot of stuff easier. That's true.
Yeah.
However, you look at this situation now, and it's almost. I mean, you could have said it was a slap in the face before, but it's definitely a slap in the face now. It's like, oh, you won't let us out, but then you're going to buy robots to essentially replace us.
Well, so I'm weird on that. I guess I'm guessing before I say what I have to say, you're totally against robots and I guess AI to be in the food industry. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter.
I'm against them taking the place of servers. I'm not necessarily, if you can't fill a position and you have to fill the position to make it, by all means. Okay. But don't use that as a crutch. Don't use that as a way to not pay someone or to underpay someone or not to look at all. I would work side by side with a robot in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I mean, I've looked forward to it and I've seen him in action.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But, to say, oh, well, COVID made us do this. No.
That's a cop out. That's a cop out.
This offers a cop out. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Well, what I was going to say was, like, it's weird because I love talking to my waiter. I love talking to the manager.
Yes.
I love but I also have my thing of understanding, people, quitting and, getting sick and, paying them for health insurance and all that stuff. Now, is that better by getting, because, anytime when I used to go to fast food, I would tell them what I wanted and they screw up all the time and they'd have no personality. Yep. So if you go to the new McDonald's, which I only went once because my friend, I just don't go there. And of course, the one time I go to get a cheeseburger, I get sick, food poisoning. But all I did was I went onto the screen and I did everything. And I found it honestly awesome. But then again, that's also me not being social, and I'm kind of, like now I'm only talking to a computer and using it. I'm not actually talking to a person, and it felt weird. But that's the future. Burger King, all these companies are getting rid. I mean, just look at the fast lanes. They're getting rid of people and just using computers. Now, is that better? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I know it's progress, and regardless of what we feel, it's going to happen. That's the thing.
Well,
what is he doing?
I think a big thing there. Those screens showed up in the past 5 years. That's a recent invention.
Oh, okay?
There were so many jobs that popped up. Okay, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I says, those screens popped up in the last 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I don't believe they were a threat at the time was there were so many other actual restaurant jobs that popped up that nobody really noticed. I mean, restaurants needed people badly. They needed people to do everything. And like you said, you talk to your server. I can tell you the names of servers from years ago because the experience was so good.
Oh yeah.
You know,
most of the dishes I got recommended and I learned to love was the server actually talking to me about it. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
You know, and I think with that being said, you say, okay, well, how can you take that away? It's such a big part of it. I mean, oh my God, you know?
Yep.
And I just can't believe it's and there you go. It's depressing to even talk about.
Oh yeah, this whole thing is like I hate talking about because I don't want to be talking about it. I shouldn't have to, but it's a thing now. Like I said, I see I actually look up articles all the time because I'm so worried and concerned about, you know, what's the future of local food, of farming, of farm to table, of, you know, everything that involves restaurant industry and food industry. It really freaks me out because I don't know the answers, because I have people asking me like, oh, what are they going to do? I have no idea. Like, and that's scary. Definitely scary to know. He's peeing.
Well, I think a big thing too, when I'll give you an example while we're talking about how depressing it is to even talk about this.
Yeah.
My fiance says to me, what are we going to do about people wanting to wear masks at the wedding? Right?
Yeah.
So we have about 150 guests. And I said, they aren't going to wear any masks at the wedding. Now, you say, well, that ain't your choice. No, it isn't. It isn't. Here's my problem with it. I recently started watching Seinfeld on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Right? And you start to realize it's like the most 90s show on the planet Earth.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't intend to be. Right? At the time, it was actually quite modern. They always tried to get the new fashions and hair.
Oh, yes.
And you know what I mean? But Jerry's computer in the background. Okay? The relic computer that he had. The magnets and cereals and logos and frozen yogurt was new. And I don't want my wedding photos to be dated.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't want any reminders of this.
Yeah.
I can't even. Recently, a show had popped up. It was about local toy stores, like vintage toy stores.
Cracker Jack.
They switched the whole motif of the show because they were recently filming to be, well, what are they going to do during COVID? I won't watch the show. I don't want to watch that. You know what I mean? Like, pretty soon, the Sci-Fi Channel will have one of their monster flicks will be about COVID-19 and werewolves or something.
Yeah. You know, I hate that I'm living in a history book right now.
Yes. You know? But I think, but wasn't it something, right, that back, again, I'm going to bring up September 11th. Yeah. During that, all they wanted you to be was proud American. They wanted you to have your head held high, and they wanted you to protect what was yours. They don't now. They want you to give it up.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could take that statement as far as you want to, but it's true. They don't want you. They want to tell you there's a new normal. We've all heard that before.
Yeah.
Look back through history. A lot of bad things happen when somebody started talking about the new normal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bad, man. But yeah, I have no idea what the future holds. I hope, in a way, I actually hope you're wrong.
Me too.
Like, I hope you're wrong, and when you were talking, I'm like, please be wrong. I hope he's wrong. I hope you are, but I don't see you fully being wrong. I think, like I said, if we put enough confidence and support, we can get through this. But I don't know, man. You have the majority so scared that I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
And there you go. I mean, I hope I'm wrong too.
Yeah.
That's what I'll leave you with. I hope to God I'm wrong.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, man, I want to say thank you. I know you're a little busy, but no, it was good talking to you. And yeah, I hope to end that. Yeah, I hope you're wrong, but it actually helped me with you telling me all this stuff. So yeah, I want to thank you for that.
Absolutely, man. Let's touch base here soon.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
All right. See you, man. All right. Yeah, that's Yeah, that was Brad Sculo, and yeah, Eater Solutions. Yeah, he definitely check him out, check out his business, and support him. Uh, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. It's, I hate that he was right on a lot of that stuff. Regardless of your feelings or what you think is going on with COVID and the reasons, and if we're doing it properly, because isolation is important, and being safe, being smart, masks, gloves, which all you have to do is be hygienic. And if you're sick or if you're coughing or sneezing, not doing it all over people, and, being away from certain people. And if you have health issues, don't go out. It's pretty simple of what we should have done for this. This was I feel very overhyped, and I don't know. I don't know the answers. I mean, I think I do. But it just seems like it's just so many people are just, just so scared of everything. And, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's kind of leaving me speechless because, like I said, this topic really did hit me hard. And, I would have loved to talk for 5 hours about it because it's really, I guess, hits home to me. Not obviously, I don't have a restaurant and whatnot, but it hits home because I was literally supposed to be filming at these restaurants and showing, how great this food is. And I don't even know if these restaurants are going to be, I guess, still there. So it's, yeah, it's definitely tough. It's definitely tough to know your favorite, restaurants. And especially, like I said before, I've been to pricey places and in New York City and Jersey, like $100, $200, $300 dishes. And it's like, that doesn't taste or feel like home. That's a cool experience, I guess. But as you know, or if you really do love food, and if you're listening to this, I'm pretty sure you do, because why the hell would you listen to me yap about food for an hour? But the best restaurants, and I've talked to all my chef friends, all my food obsessed friends around the country, even different countries talked about this stuff. Yeah, it's the best spots are just the ones that are mom and pop shops and these little places that, people don't even know about, or they're scared to go into because they think it looks dirty, or the people there, like, those are the greatest places. Those are the absolute greatest places and the greatest people. And I hate how people judge just because they're in certain neighborhoods that these foods or restaurants are going to be bad, which they've always been nicer to me than any pricey place I've ever been to. And like, that's why I love ethnic food. I love the people all around in the town, in the city. And Anthony Bourdain showed that the most, that, all these places that people in America think are just nasty and terrible and low class and trashy, whatever you want to call it, I'm not demeaning them. I'm saying I love those places, and for people to give terms to it and to hate on it and, give a bad image just because you don't like how it looks, or you don't like, for whatever reason, the people around there, you're missing out. Those places will give you the best food ever in all the cultures. The greatest places, like in New Brunswick, Cool Runnings, the greatest Jamaican food you'll ever have, the best oxtail I've ever had was there. The best Middle Eastern food I've ever had was a small place in North Carolina that no one really knew about or saw unless you lived there. And the greatest food, the greatest gyros, or gyro, whatever the hell you want to call it, is in a small town near me in Flemington. One of the best gyros I've ever had, and it's a Greek family that owns it. And, the best Mexican place I ever had, a small place in, I guess, Bridgewater, I think, or Raritan. No one even knows it's alive. And I love that in a way because, I don't have massive lines and I get to sit there and talk to the people. That's all I do. I make friends there who, they're a little hard to understand because, but my best friend I met there was this 50-year-old Costa Rican guy, and him and I talked and we learned about each other, and it was actually really cool, and I love doing that stuff. And I don't like how, regardless of your opinions on the, movements and the craziness going on, I just think if you just sat down, and that's really only happens at these type of places, but if you sat down and say you don't like certain people for whatever reason, and you just talk to them, you would love the people, the person, the community, and realize that you're judging such a small percentage on a whole community. And I've never been, I'm more accepted from these places than even in my own like communities. It's crazy. And you'll get, like I said, the best people with the best food. And I know I'm rambling, but I'm very passionate about it because that's how I became so open-minded. I put my bias and my issues away, and I went into these communities and started learning and realizing that, things you were taught or heard or learned is bullshit. And the greatest people and the greatest food is at these places that you need to support with the food, with the restaurants, because I think that's what makes communities is these restaurants, because they bring people together. They make people happy, they give jobs, they give great food, and they give a good reputation. And I think we need to talk about that more and support them more and get out of the house and, do what you have to do. And what you should do in a society is work, is give back, talk to people. And I think that's what we, really need to do. Yep, not to get all serious because this was supposed to be a joking show and talking, enjoying and laughing about food and learning. But yeah, you got a little serious. Things are a little crazy right now. But yeah, so that was Brad Sculo of Eater Solutions. Really good guy, really knowledgeable. Love talking to him. And, obviously I'll get him on soon because I did get a bunch of you saying how much you guys like him. Yeah, make sure to share it, like, comment, whatever the hell I guess people say. I don't know. I think that's preachy because if you like it, you'll like it. But yeah, fuck them. All right. Yep. Food over people. Hope you liked it. Leave a comment. Let me know how you feel. But yeah, thanks guys, and I'll catch you next week. See ya.